Om Shanti. We are here with the lessons of godly knowledge and Raja Yoga. In this series, we will be taking various questions related to body and soul, related to godly knowledge and Raja Yoga. Through these question answers, we will be clearing our doubts and moving ahead in our journey of who am I. Today we are starting with an introduction by asking a question that why do we need the knowledge of soul? Why we are curious to know about soul or the chapter of soul? To answer this, we will see in detail that lack of knowledge of one's true self is the real cause of all human suffering and unhappiness. Man today identifies himself with the body, sometimes sensuously, sometimes subtly. He does not know much about the immortal entity. He does not know much about the immortal entity called soul, which resides and functions through the body. Man's ignorance about soul's result is body consciousness or worldly approach towards life. He sets out to improve his existing conditions of life without understanding in the first place why the physical and mental conditions, circumstances and environment of two individuals differ widely right at the time of their birth. We have often seen that at the time of birth, the two individuals are different. He also observes that to some, success comes easily at every step of life, while it eludes others in spite of their best efforts. Premature and untimely deaths also baffle him. His subconscious is constantly haunted by the fear of death, which he thinks will deprive him of everything he possesses and hold dear. Every cradle asks whence, and every coffin whither. Human sufferings on mass scale caused by natural calamities and war confuse him more. This phenomena compel him to think at some time or the other as to whether these happenings take place by sheer accident or luck, or there is definitely law governing the same. He also wonders as to who he is. He is sheer illusion or total reality. If man and the world are only illusion, then man does not exist. And also, nothing exists around him, which makes no sense. So why should one do good if the world is unreal? Why study, achieve, and aim for attaining perfection? If annihilation by death is the cruel end, if the phenomenal universe, including him, is a total reality, why is everything so transitive and perishable with the signature of death? Unless these fundamental aspects of life are rightly understood, the body consciousness approach is bound to the individual. Just as layman wrongly concludes through visual observation that the sun revolves around the earth, whereas the reality is otherwise. Similarly, man's ignorance about the true self lead him to the wrong conclusion that his physical existence is the be-all and end-all of everything. This result is his adopting wrong value of life, which in turn leads to his competing wrong actions and consequently causes suffering to him. No wonder, in spite of striving hard, he is unable to avoid sorrows and sufferings in life. Proper knowledge of one real self, that is soul, is not functioning well. Its functioning and its role in the world of drama is therefore a must, a leading, a peaceful, contented, happy, and liberated life. So, through this, we come to a conclusion that, first of all, knowledge of soul is really important. Otherwise, the suffering which we are facing right now, we think it as a reality and continues with it. So now the next question arises, who are you? Men's ignorance of the self is demonstrated by wide variety of answers which are given to the question, who are you? When asked to introduce himself, some give the name of their body, although men as well as some just give the name of themselves. As we shall see later, is not merely a body of flesh and bones. Others disclose their professional identity, such as doctor, lawyer, businessman, etc. Although all know that the person does exist even before he has a profession, and he does not cease to exist after he gives up the same. Yet other introduces themselves by their race, sex, or nationality as say, Negro, women, or Indian respectively. They again are wrong answers to the question, who are you? Because these statements refer either to the bodily features or country of the person. So here we have seen that whenever this question is asked that who are you, we often raise the name of the body, that I am such and such, or we disclose our profession, that I am such and such personality, or I belong to this place. So by name, place, and our position, we represent ourselves. But now the next question is, I and my. Who am I? And who is my? The right answer to the basic question is, I am a soul. The difference between the body and the soul can be illustrated by the use of word I and my. So once we see the difference between I and my, we will be able to know ourselves in detail. The two have distinct meaning. I refer to the soul, and my or mine applies to the possession or belongings of the soul, one of which is body. So here we come to a conclusion that I am a soul and my body, it means body I possess as a belonging of the soul. Suppose you are living in a cottage, you would say, this is my cottage or this cottage is mine. You won't say I am a cottage. In the same way, you refer to the different organs of your body as my nose, my eyes, and to the body as well as my body. Thus, you are not the body, but body belongs to you. In other words, the body is a cottage in which the soul resides. The simple statement, I am a soul and the body I reside in, is my temporary abode, explains the difference. So here we come to an answer that I am a soul and I reside in this body, which is my cottage. So we oftenly say, I am body. So now, here we got an answer that I am not the body, I am residing inside the body. I am the soul, and this body I possess as a belonging of the soul. Now, the next thing which we have to understand is soul acts through the body. How soul acts through the body. The pronoun I and my or mine are verbal manifestation of the Chaitanya that is called as power called soul. So I and my are the power called soul and of the insentient body Chaitanya through which the soul acts. Just as a person who speaks and listens through a telephone instrument is an entity separate from the telephone set, in the same way, the soul is an entity separate from the body. So as we are receiving or calling through phone, the phone is just an instrument. The message is received or given, but phone is an instrument. In this way, the relationship between the soul and a body may be explained by the example of a driver and a car. Even though, like all the example, it cannot be carried too far. Just as a driver sits in the car and drives it, the soul resides in the body and drives it. A car may be very expensive, but if a person at the steering wheel does not know how to drive it properly, he will cause accidents. In the same way, if a person does not know properly about the functioning of the soul and the body, he will cause accidents in life and consequently suffer the same. As a matter of fact, it is the soul that performs all the activity through the body. The body and its organ are only agents or means to carry out the dictates of the soul. To explain it further, it is not the mouth that speaks on its own, but it is the soul that speaks through the mouth organ of the body. Thus the soul sees, hears, speaks, feels, and acts through the body. These functions are performed through the medium of 5 senses of sight, sound, speech, smell, and touch. So through these 5 senses, we hear from the soul, we speak from the soul, we feel, we see. These senses operate through their respective organs in the body by receiving and conveying message via the brain. The soul contemplates, judges, plans, remembers, and recognizes with the aids of the body. Common experiences such as one's dislike for graying or falling hair or an inability to fulfill certain desires due to defects in some organs of the body, for example in case of diabetes, also explains the distinction between the soul and the body. So here the answer is that soul acts through the body. The message which we receive through the phone, we need the instrument to speak and receive the message. So telephone is just the instrument. Same way body is the instrument to run the entire function of the soul. Now we are coming to a next question, that soul experiences through body. Before this we have seen that soul acts through body. Now how soul experiences through body. The physical body is made of 5 well-known elements, which are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These broad elements, which we have seen, the 5 elements, contain every element that is known to science. Body is a physiological mechanism by means of which the soul not only acts but also experiences the result of its action in the form of pleasure and pain. Matter alone cannot think or feel. The act, that is, the soul which experiences through the body, may be explained by an example. Suppose a hungry man puts a delicious piece of sweet in his mouth, but the moment it touches his tongue, if he receives some very sad news, his hunger and taste for the sweet will vanish. This shows that it is not the tongue that tastes, but actually the soul which tastes through the bodily organ of the tongue. It is important to note that the soul is not immune to the effect of its action. It is for this reason that adjectives like Mahatma, Punyatma, Papatma are used for the soul or not for the body. Mahatma means elevated soul, Punyatma, noble soul, Papatma, sinful soul. Just as an alloy in gold is equally reflected in the ornament made from it, any defect in the body of a newborn baby proves the truth that the soul is not nirlep, not immune, because it is a soul which acquires such a new body on the basis of the actions in the previous births. Phenomenon of the rebirth of the soul is the concept of previous birth, which we will discuss later. So till now we have seen that whatever we eat, whatever we smell, whatever we hear, whatever we touch, it's not the body who is experiencing. It is the soul which is experiencing. Otherwise, while eating a tasty food, why the taste vanish when we have heard any sad news? It should remain if it is a bodily function. Next, we will see that man is soul or not body alone. A living human being is called as Jivatma. The body remains alive as long as soul resides in it. It is very interesting to note that the presence of soul automatically sustains the functioning of the body so much so that the breathing process continues even while the man is in a deep sleep. When the soul leaves the body, the event is called death. Then it is said that the light has gone and the soul has departed. After death, decomposition starts in the body. It begins to emit foul smell. After some time, the body is decomposed in different ways by different people. The body has value and significance as long as the soul is in it. Just as the electrical appliances are useless without the supply of electric current, the body is completely ineffective without the soul. The police also try to capture criminals alive. The soul also can act and experience through the medium of body. The soul and the body are both indispensable to each other in the field of activities called as world and yet. The soul is to be considered lower and the soul higher in the scale of values. The body is mortal while the soul is immortal. It is the body which is produced by human seed and not the soul. Being immortal entity can neither be created nor destroyed. There can be no doubt that what exists in real, relatively, or absolutely. Man's true being, that is the soul, is timeless, but the physical coil about him is also a fact and not illusion. He is thus both time-bound and eternal, mortal and immortal. So here we have seen that the body has its significance till the soul is there, the energy is there. The moment the soul is away from the body starts stinking, the body starts decomposing. So the existence of the body is valuable till the time the soul is there. Now we come to our next question. Does soul exist? This is a very, very important question, the existence of the soul. Regarding life as a property of chemical combination of matter, man's birth, growth, and death is a mystery whose physical periphery is all that sensory instruments of the physical sciences are able to decode. Noetic scientists are investigating successfully as to how life after life exists and death itself is misnomer, except to describe discarnation as not the end but a bend. The fact that the soul exists has also been established by the recent researcher in parapsychology. Parapsychologist has confirmed the existence of an entity which is quite distinct from the human body and brain, and that is described as Atma, Ruh or soul in religious terminology. The conclusion of parapsychologists about the existence of this entity was arrived at after making a study of actual cases of number of children who correctly narrated events of their past life, past birth. Without accepting the existence of soul, it is neither possible to explain these extrasensory perceptions or satisfactory accounts for the differences between the physical and the mental state, environment sufferings, and all other traits of two human beings right from the very moment of their birth. So this shows that soul exists. This shows that our birth or the body which we possess for the soul also depends upon our basic past karmas on which we have clear our account. So here we have seen in our journey of who am I, that I and my journey is different, where I and my as a body and soul is different. Body exists till the time soul is there, and soul experiences acts through the body, and soul exists from birth by birth, and this has been explained by parapsychologists also, by noetic scientists also. So through this we come to the end of our series, where we have learned about the lesson on who am I, where we had come to a conclusion that I am a soul residing inside this body, and this body I possess is due to my past actions, and the way I will perform in today's time is the reality of the future. On this basis, I am here to explain that I am a soul. I am inside this body. I am a driver running this car, this motor, and I have to save my car from all the accidents. So I, as a driver, to be more and more conscious. In our next series, we will be listening ahead more about the spiritual journey, more about our godly knowledge and Raj Yoga. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti.